let's start briefly, recover what we already have done before. So we start by analyzing the market when we find supply and demand. So again, what is the difference between supply and demand? Supply, demand. So demand represented by consumer or buyers, and supply represented by producer and seller. So demand is the willing and the ability to buy, and supply is the willing and ability to sell. So willing and ability. I'm willing, I have the desire, I hope, and I'm able to buy or I'm able to sell. This is simply the definition for the supply and demand. And then we go to factor affect the demand. Again, this PowerPoint is uploaded on our classrooms. Okay, so demand represent a negative relation between prices and quantities. So when the price decrease, consumer increase more. So simply when we have a reduction in discount, prices goes down, quantity demand increase. Okay, so that's why demand is a negative slope or a negative relation between prices and quantity demand. And there are other factors affect demand. So that is the preferences of consumers. Income, when their income increase, they able to buy more. So income increase, demand increase. Price of substitute, which is the alternative. So here, laser and codes. So it's possible to be a substitute. So when the price of fish increase, the demand on a chicken increase. When the price of apple increase, the demand on orange increase. Okay, so this is a positive relation. Clear يا شباب؟
تمام يا دكتور.
Okay.
تمام يا دكتور.
Complement, so this is complement something else. So oil and car, so when the price of oil increase, that's mean the demand for car decrease. Nothing happened in the auto market, but what happened is the increase or change of the price in the complement goods. And then again the price consumer acceptation. So here we reach to what is the difference between quantity demand and demand. Quantity demand is a movement. So quantity demand it change only when the prices change. Demand it changed when the other factor changes. Okay. So how we can so it changed in quantity demand, we moved from point to point on the same demand curve. It changed in demand, that means we shifted the whole demand curve, will shift to right or to left. So this is a change in quantity demand. So I moved from this point to this point due to change on the prices. So here prices goes down, so demand goes up. In the other case, when the demand other factor changes, so here we have an increase in demand. This is the case if the income increase. So the whole demand curve shifted to right. Any increase shifted to right, any decrease shifted to left. So this is a summary for that. Supply, so supply again is a willing and the ability to sell. So and supply side show a positive relation. Demand the negative relation, supply positive relation between prices and quantity supply. So when the prices increase, simply this is due to this will lead to increase in revenue and therefore for profit. So the producer or the seller will sell more. So again, the main equation here is profit. The profit for seller or producer equal total revenue minus total cost. Anything increase revenue, I will sell more. Okay.
دكتور بيحصل
ايكو
صدى صوت
بالظبط،
معلش
انا
بس.
عارف. ممكن كل واحد يعمل المايك بتاعه ميوت، وانا لما لو في حاجه هخليك. تمام. طيب so this is the individual supply. So simply when the supply increase, from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, so when the prices increase, quantity supply as well increase. Okay. And this is the other determinant of supply. So resources, technology, price of others good, and producer expectation, as we already know from the last lecture. So the same like demand, we have a change here in quantity supply and change on supply. A change on quantity supply when the prices itself change. Supply changes when the other factor changes. In quantity supply, there is a movement on the same supply curve, while for the supply, we shift from the supply to another one. So this is the shifting here. So it's possible to see it. Shift to right in case of increase, shift to left in case of decrease. Okay. And this is summary for that. So this is the first part when we finish the supply and demand. The same in the end of the last lecture, we start by market equilibrium أو توازن السوق, when the supplier met consumers, when we have supply and demand curve on the same diagram. What will be the case? So here we reach to equilibrium point when the quantity demand equal quantity supply. So when what is the amount required from consumer is equal from the quantity already produced from seller. So when this is a schedule for the supply and demand. So this is the prices, different prices. Again, as we said before, we start the negotiation between consumer and producer. So consumer need the product very cheap. Producer or seller needs a price very high. So what is the issues now? The issues now is prefer to, okay, and producer prefer 10. So at 10 we have prices 15, okay. At price 2 شباب ما حدش يفتح المايك. At 2, at price 2, because it's very cheap, it's very desirable situation from consumer, they prefer to have 15 quantity. But at that low price, seller or producer prefer 7. Just 7. So in this case, consumer needs 15, producer supply just 7, so we have shortage on the market. So at that shortage on the market, both of them will not be satisfied, consumer and supplier, simply because the price is very low for suppliers and there is a shortage for consumer. So what will happen if we raise the price more from 2 to 4? This is better for suppliers, but they believe that the price is very low. So they just raise the quantity supply from 7 to 8. And because the price is become more expensive, so consumers reduce the quantity demand from 15 to 12. So again, what the consumer need is 12, and what is the seller produce or sell, it's just 8. So we have on the market shortage by 4. So again, this is not a stable situation. If we raise the price more from 4 to 6, so the quantity demand will increase from, its quantity demand will decrease, in this case, from 12 to 9. Why decrease? Because there is an inverse relation between quantity demand and prices. At the same time, when seller feels the price is good, they raise quantity supply. So just on 6, price 6, quantity demand equal quantity supply. So in this case, we don't have seller, and we don't have a surplus, or we don't have a shortage. This is the equilibrium situation. So what if the prices for any cases increase the price from 6 to 8? In this case, 8 is very expensive for consumers. So they will reduce the quantity demand from 9 to 6. While, because the price is high, quantity supply, represented by suppliers, will raise the quantity supply from 9 to 10. So what will happen in this case? At this high price, consumers just need 6, but producer produce 10. So what we have on the market in this case, we have a surplus in this case. That means we have overproduction, overseller, than that, more than the market needs. So again, this is a not good case. So this is the case when we have a shortage, we have a surplus, and in between them we have the equilibrium when there is no shortage and there is no surplus. How I can show that? By graph, and this is the case here. If the price is 4, so this is a supply curve. So the supply at that low price is 8, and quantity demand is 12. So we have on the market excess demand, or we have طلب زائد. So we have shortage. Quantity demand more than quantity supply. And this is the case when the price is 8. When the price is 8, no. This is very expensive for us. So this is the demand curve. So this is the quantity demand. So all what we asking for is just 6 amount, but because the price is high, this is a supply side. So producer prefer to produce 10. I will say no deal, because in this case, quantity demand is less than quantity supply. So we have excess supply, or we have a surplus on the market. Okay. So at the end, we reach to the equilibrium point. What is the equilibrium point? When the price of supply and the price of demand equal quantity supply and quantity demand. Let's go back. What will happen in this case when we have excess demand? Excess demand, that we have shortage. So what will happen if we have shortage in any market? Like what will happen nowadays in our market? What will happen? Ask your parents about the prices of the market. What is the prices today, and what is the prices just 2 weeks ago? It become double. You know why? Because people now need more products, because they feel panicked. We are in the crisis. we are worried, we fear from tomorrow, so we don't know what will happen. So our quantity demand nowadays is increased. We need storage on our houses in different necessary product. So our quantity demand increase. So the quantity demand is more than the quantity supply. So what will happen for the prices? This is push prices up. So this is will push. So this is the case when we push prices up. So we push prices up simply because we have excess demand or we have shortage on the market. Okay? So again, this is very important. When we have shortage on
دكتور
the
معلش،
market,
هو لما السبلاي بيزيد السعر بيزيد، عدد السبلاي بيزيد السعر كمان بيزيد.
لا، الحاجة اللي تزود الأسعار، اللي يزود الأسعار هو الديماند مش السبلاي. When the supply increase, that means we have more product, so the prices goes down. Okay, but when we have more demand, so people asking for more product, we need. So that means we have excess demand. So excess demand push price up, like in this case. So what will happen in this, if we are here? The product here is not enough. All of this amount from 8, so from 8 to 12, so 4 of the product shortage. So the consumer say, I would prefer more price to find. So this will be the new case. But again, we have shortage. So again, until we reach to this amount, so in this case, the quantity supply equal quantity demand. So there is no shortage in this case, but this is on the higher price. So any excess demand or any shortage push price up, push price up. So what is the case? Let's remove all of these. So what is the case when they have opposite? When we have the opposite case, when we have excess supply, when we have surplus on the market. Surplus on the market, that means this is the price is very high. No, I don't have that willing on that price. So this is the quantity demand. So again, how I know this is the quantity demand or quantity supply? Simply from here. This is demand curve. So in demand curve, we reach to quantity demand. Okay, and this is what? This is a supply curve. So go from supply curve. So 10, this is what? This is the quantity supply. Okay. So what will happen if we have surplus on the market? That means the product is too much. Like when the Iyad asked, what will happen when we have excess supply? Excess supply, that means we have overproduction. I don't need all of these. So simply, this is what the storage warehousing will increase. So producer and seller would prefer to push the price down and sell all of these products. So any excess supply will push prices down. Any excess demand will push prices up. Again, this is a very important techniques how we reach to the equilibrium point, and very, very important concept in economics, in any equilibrium. So no shortage, no surplus. تمام؟ طيب. Let's go. So this is the excess supply. So again, this is just explanation. from what we already finished. So this is a full explanation. Okay. Okay, so this is the first part in our lecture. Is it clear or any questions about this? If not, let's go forward for the other point. If you have anything, please send me on the chat. Is it possible to see? Okay, that means clear. Fine. Good. Now what we will try to do is try to understand what will happen. So we reach to the equilibrium situation. وضع التوازن. Okay. But this is not a static situation. This is will not forever situation. So we reach to that equilibrium position. So what will happen if something changed? Like if the, let's see, yeah, this is a situation. Okay, this is a situation. This is the prices, and this is the quantity, right? And this is the equilibrium price, and 10 is the equilibrium quantity. This is a supply, and this is a demand. Okay. My question is, or what I try to understand, what will happen for this market when the income increase for consumers? So the first thing I will ask myself is, income affect supply or demand? Supply or demand? Just open your mic and answer me. شباب.
Demand.
Is demand. Excellent. So what we know from the theory of demand, we know that income affect demand. So how income affect demand? If the income increase, the demand increase or decrease?
Increase.
Increase. How the demand increase? By shifting to rightward. So I expect this is a new demand curve. So this is the supply side, and this is the new demand curve. So this is a new equilibrium point. So we moved from this point to this point. So the equilibrium situation, it changed. Okay, so my question is, what will happen for the equilibrium situation when any factor of demand or supply it changed? This will lead to change in the equilibrium situation. So the first thing I will ask myself is, the factor already changed is affected supply or affected demand? Then my next stage is, the effect is a positive effect or a negative effect? So let's see an example. So here, when we are talking about demand, so changing on demand, demand increase. Again, this is not a new things. This is just summarize the theory of demand. So demand, it changed when the income it changed. So income demand increase when income increase, when the price of substitute increase, when the price of complement decrease, when the change of the preferences for consumers, when we change the expectation. is the opposite is right. So demand decrease when income decrease, when the price of substitute decrease, when the price of complement increase, or is there a change in the preferences or expectations for customers. Okay, so again, this is just summarize what will happen for summarize some of the aspect from demand theory. So returning back to our graph. So what happened here? If income, as we see here, so the demand will increase. So let me erase what we already explained here. So, okay. So now, this is the case. The case of what? When the demand increase. So when the demand increase, so the demand curve shift to right, and therefore we have a new equilibrium point. So we moved from this point to this point. So what will happen for the market when the consumer increase their demand? Like what happened today? Okay, what we can see here, the prices on the market.
السعر هيعلى.
السعر, of course, recording now, right? Type. Yeah. Okay. So we just finished. So no, this is the case. So again, this is okay. So here again, how we can the demand when what is the effect changing on one of the factor affected demand on the equilibrium price and quantity. So here in the case where the prices increase and the quantity increase as well. Here is a case when, let's say, the price of complement increase. So let's say that the price of oil increase, so the demand, we expect that in this case, demand will decrease. So demand decrease, shift to left. So now we have a new equilibrium point, new price, and new quantity on the market. What will happen when the demand decrease, الطلب قل, that means people not asking for this product. So the demand for this product will be low. So what we can expect? We expect that the prices become lower because people don't like this product. And of course, the quantity seller will produce less because people doesn't like much this product. Okay, so the point is, don't study this part like what will happen when the income increase or decrease. Use the graph to understand. Then the first case, demand increase. So demand increase will shift demand to right. So what will happen in this case? Prices and quantity increase. This is just a conclusion. But how we reach to this conclusion? By using the graph. This is the case when the demand decrease. Demand decrease, shift to left. So when the demand hit the supply, this is the intersections between them. So the intersection between them at this point and this price and this is quantity. So what will happen on the market? The prices goes down, the quantity, equilibrium quantity goes down as well. Type. So again, this is the conclusion. So in each time I'm trying to conclude what I'm try to saying, Ahmed. Okay. So this is the final conclusion. How we reach this one? By using the graph analysis. Now we change on supply. So the first case change on demands. Now we change on the supply. Prices on supply, changes on supply. Supply could increase due to lower cost of production, using more advanced level of technology or decreasing of the other prices of other products. Decrease on supply, supply بتاعنا will decrease if the cost of production increase, like wages increase. So wages is part of cost of production. So when the labor or workers, العمال اللي عندي, asking for more wages or higher wages, that's mean they will cost me more. So this is will affect the supply by decreasing the supply. So now this is the case in case of increased supply. So the supply will increase. If the supply increase, so that means the supply will shift to right. Any increase, shift to right. Any decrease, shift to left. So simply supply, Ahmed, I think, or Iyad were asking this question. What will happen if the supply increase, not the prices increase? Supply increase, that's mean we produce more by lower price. Okay. So if we produce more from any type of product, okay, so that's mean the effect on that on the market, the prices will goes down because it will be more cheaper. And we, of course, because the supply increase, we produce and consume more. So when the supply increase, this is the case. So what is the case if we have decrease in supply? In this case, the supply curve will shift to left simply because this is lower supply curve. So we produce more, supply less, that means we sell more, we produce more. So of course we expect if we produce less from any product, the prices increase and quantity demand decrease as well. Does it make sense? Okay.
دكتور معلش، هو ايه اللي يخلي السبلاي كيرف يتشفت؟
left ولا right؟
left.
Supply curve will shift to left if any of these factors happen. Hey, we have in one slide. If the cost of production increase, as I said, if the wages of labor increase, let's say the raw materials, the prices of raw material increase, the price of energy increase. That's why during this time when we have a recession in economy, الوقت اللي احنا فيه ده في وقت كساد في الاقتصاد. So what is the government have decided yesterday to reduce the prices of energy for factories. هتقلل فلوس الطاقة للمصانع. Okay. طيب if the cost of energy increase, so that means the cost of production will increase. Cost of production increase, that means will lead to shift the supply to left. So if the supply shifted to left, so the quantity, the equilibrium quantity will decrease, but the prices will increase. Is it clear? Okay. This is a third case when we have a change on both demand and supply. This is not included in our course, just to know it that it's possible. Of course, what will happen, like nowadays, two things happen. The demand increase, consumer increase their quantity demand, and at the same time we have a shortage on the supply. So supply shifted to left and demand shifted to right. but this is more a complicated case, so this is not in will not include in our course. So this is a summary at the end when the supply increase or supply decrease. So in each time we have here today. Next lecture, inshallah, will continue the action in the market, or when there is an interventions of government